you so much for joining me today. How are you, first of all?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Natasha? I haven't seen you for a while.
We actually haven't seen each other for a while. I was just trying
No,
to think when the last time was. It wasn't at the Ops Nest lunch, was it?
no, I think it was the EPCF Awards at the Business Design Centre we held in December.
It was. It was. I'd actually had a fractured toe that night, I remember. And you
Yes,
looked amazing in this red
very
dress.
pregnant.
Yeah, you looked amazing. I'm sure a lot of people know exactly who you are and what you do, but for those that perhaps don't, can you just tell us a little bit about, because your core business, AMT Events, perhaps you could start with that and what you do and what that is.
Yeah, sure. So I launched AMT Events, which is a creative boutique events agency in 2020 amidst the pandemic. Since then, we've done corporate events, live, virtual and hybrid. And we also had the UK EPC community launch on LinkedIn, which was a group that I started to support event professionals. And AMT Events has pretty much been supporting and running that more or less from the start. We've been going from strength to strength. We won lots of awards last year, which was amazing, and we've had amazing feedback and support from the industry as well as our clients, so that's been really wonderful as a starting point. And has just given us really a platform to build quite rapidly the growth of the company. So
You won an award recently with LinkedIn as well, you were telling me earlier.
So in January, actually, it was completely out of the blue. It's kind of not really an award, but it's just a recognition.
Okay.
So they contacted us to say that we were one of their most engaged groups on LinkedIn, and they
Wow.
awarded us as part of the LinkedIn Inner Circle, which is a group that they work with, for feeding into them what we would like to see on functionality, as well as us kind of gaining from them access to certain privileges.
One question I wanted to ask you today, really, I guess to kind of tap into your relationships with your members, is what does the community look like at the moment for you? In that, are people still talking about finding new roles? Are they actually celebrating the new roles that they found? Because the reason I ask is, so at Expocast, we, as you know, we're specialists in recruitment, events recruitment, but very specifically for exhibitions and conferences. And everyone's talking about this talent shortage that we have in our industry. And I don't know whether it's because we've just never had so many vacancies before that it looks as though we don't have enough talent to fill those roles, or if perhaps there isn't enough people because they've left the industry and they've gone to do something else. Or is it actually that we're not communicating in the right way to those who are looking for work? So, have our adverts become a bit mundane, a bit samey, are they getting the information that they need, that excites them to want to apply to these roles? Or is the industry still a risk for them to come back into? So I'm just curious to know, because I guess we kind of feel like maybe we've done everything we can, and now we're at that stage of, we need to start thinking out the box. We need to be asking our target audience, what is it that you need from us? So yeah, I mean, what's your community saying to you right now in terms of, finding new roles and
need? There's quite a few thoughts that kind of bounce off all of that from me. Actually, I'll try and remember them all. The first thing I think is 100% you're not alone. There's definitely people that are reaching out to me as in-house recruiters, as agencies, as recruiters themselves that are in our community, that drop me an email and get in touch and say, we have this role, do you know anyone that's suitable? Because we are very closely connected with the people that are engaging with the group, and from that perspective, I suppose we do get to know them very well. We know that what they've been doing, what they've done, And also it shows a certain level of enthusiasm for the industry and their career and role, because they've actively been looking for work and getting to know the group and its group managers. From a perspective of talent, I think we did lose a few people, but we've also gained industries that had time to reflect, that always wanted to do something different and have never had that time before to retrain. And Emily England actually is one person that I'm working with from AMT Events. She's always wanted to do events, never had the chance to kind of get that experience. So that's a prime example. I do think that from a job perspective, there's a couple of key things. I know you mentioned one, and I've seen your podcast before with Naomi about the whole naming. That's definitely one area I think is definitely.
Do you mean the job description titles?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. You know, from my side, I've gone from in-house corporate. In fact, I was freelance working with London Fashion Week, and then I went in-house corporate, financial, and I went agency side. So I've seen a lot of different titles. So when I name my own agency titles, most of the time it is from event coordinator or event manager, and then the description within that dissects what exactly the task will be and the role will be. I think a lot of graduates do look for, like you said, the word event in the role. From a perspective of talent, I think you are right, there are a lot of jobs out there at the moment. People do kind of glaze over when they're even looking for a role. If the title isn't 100%, if the company isn't 100% what they're looking for, and then the whole kind of process format, I suppose, of social posting of this is the salary, if they put the salary, because a lot of the time they don't. Go to this link, fill out this form. Okay, well, I've got to find time to do that, and right now I'm on my way to doing this, or actually I'm doing a
so it's the time that the process actually takes.
The application is taking. I find that the people that do best, especially on our community, are personal posts. So a lot of the job reshares that come into our group are from people's networks and connections, where somebody on their network has posted about a specific role that they know about in their company. They'll say, you know, this is the role, this is the salary, this is the company, please do get in touch if you are interested on this email. It's very simple, but it's personal. They have a personal contact. And I think it's that approach where it's more of an exclusive. Oh, I'm not going to be up against 2,000 job applications. Because I think also the applicants are currently looking at it as a very competitive market. And they also spend a lot of time doing applications and, you know, having automatic responses back and never hearing back. So they really have to handpick which ones they are applying to. And I think the ones that do tend to stand out are the ones where they know I'm going to be in contact with the right person for this role when I get in contact. So
instead of just being directed to a website, have a look at our careers page, or, you know, if this job interests you, send your CV to recruitment at whatever. If it's personal, if they know that they're actually going to get to speak to someone, that makes a big difference.
Definitely. And I think, you know, from looking at it being personal, we've all connected in communities. So everyone is looking for that personal contact. If they want to work for a company that they have had in mind for a very long time, no doubt they would have already been on their website and looked at the careers contact page, looked at the roles available, made their very personal application. If it's a company that is looking, and not that I want to use the word desperate, but, you know, they really do have a talent shortage, then making it as easy as possible for the applicant to be in touch with somebody is probably the best way to get the right people in as soon as possible.
And are the people in your community, do they often talk about, you know, we're still looking for roles? Does anybody know of anyone that's recruiting, or is your community inundated with people saying, I have this role available? Is it sort of flipped now, or is it still very much
I think definitely, obviously, more people are in work. Lots of people have had this whole experience of freedom. So there's lots of people that were doing in-house roles before that have had the opportunity to switch to freelance. It's not an easy jump, even with the industry that's happened. I have actually heard that, you know, with the industry, even though everyone was saying, oh, you know, everybody's going to go to freelance, that's going to be the way forward because it's less of a risk, and you know, contracts can be ended when they need to be. However, I think more roles that have come forward are full-time roles. I haven't necessarily seen on some of the posts the salary being where it should be.
The salary is really important. It's actually a massive bugbear of mine. If the salary isn't advertised on your job, personally, don't expect anyone to apply for it.
And it's that point of, you know, there are many talented people that don't have the experience, that have done training or that have transferable skills from other industries. Interviews are important, but asking for 5 to 10 years experience in the events industry on a junior to mid-level rate is, for me, not acceptable. I mean, there are posts that we've seen that put up, and I've had to go back to the poster and just say, I'm really sorry, we can't promote this role because ultimately you know, it's not great for the freelancers, it's not great for contracts, it's not great for us to promote it.
It's great that you push back and you actually
we have
say
done
that.
We have done. We try to be fair. I mean, there's lots of different circumstances. I speak with freelancers all the time about day rates, and I think you need to be flexible. You can't undervalue yourself, but at the same time, is it a relationship that will be long term? Are they going to give you regular work? You know, when you're looking at things like that, you have to weigh it up, and there is a negotiation to be had. It's kind of looking at, you know, whether that is going to be benefiting you long term, and that's a company that you really want to work with. If it's something that actually you're not really particularly interested in, but they really need you and your skill set, and you know, it's as a one-off, then stabilize your day rate and keep it where it is. But there's lots of factors to consider. I don't think it is straightforward.
I do think people are exhausted of interviews, and it's not, you know, for me, I've never experienced anything like it. So I've got one amazing candidate for a role, and that same candidate probably has at least 2 other interviews for 2 other companies. They're already at 2nd stage or 3rd stage. They're doing presentations for every single interview they're going for, and it's intense. It's really, really intense. And we've had to really you know, remind our clients about speed is key as well. If we're sending CVs across, you know, don't expect that person to be available in 3 days' time, because, you know, they are in high demand. And for us, we feel like, because I know you mentioned earlier about the candidates feel like it's very competitive out there at the moment, but from a recruiter side, we feel like this market is completely candidate driven, and that they are, you know, they are in control more so than we are at the moment. So that's interesting.
I think it can be seen that way, definitely, but I think there's definitely you know, an element where you have to. I know lots and lots of freelancers that have applied for things and don't hear back, or they're told still that they're not the correct candidate, or that there was a stronger candidate.
How many people do you think who are part of your community are, you might not know the answer to this, so sorry for just sort of throwing it onto you. How many of them are freelancers and how many of them are sort of permanent? Do you know?
So at the moment, with LinkedIn groups, it is quite hard to split the demographic. It's more of the knowledge that we know from people that are inbound and coming into the group that we see. They are all vetted. They have to be UK based. They have to be in the events industry.
Great.
The group was originally started for event organisers and managers, but then we've opened it up gradually to suppliers. We always had a number of people that really are assisting the events industry, such as recruiters like yourself, life coaches, work coaches. We have a number of different kind of percentages, I would say, that make up around 15 to 20% that are assisting
Yeah.
in training, event software representatives that will offer training. So we probably have life coaches and recruiters and that around 10%. I'd say we have quite a strong recruiting database now, around 15% on the group.
Okay,
and
great.
then in terms of the actual suppliers and event organisers, I'd say the suppliers make up that remaining 50%.
Right.
And then the remaining 50% are split probably strongest on agency and freelancers,
Okay.
and then probably about 20% on the in-house event organisers.
In-house
so
permanent events. Okay, great.
So there is quite a split, but
Mm.
the majority of I would say definitely the 50%, maybe even bordering onto the 60%, would definitely be all event organisers.
Yeah, that's great.
It's just we've started opening up the membership because we wanted to make sure that we were inclusive of everybody supporting each other. It also works in event organisers' benefit to be able to get to know suppliers on a great relationship basis, as well as recruiters and coaches. So it's really just what benefits the industry, but it's all focused on training and supporting the event organisers as a focus.
Yeah, brilliant. And I know I've taken up quite a lot of your time already, but just before we wrap up, I just wanted to say, got a special sort of celebration coming up, haven't you, by the end of this year?
Yes, so it's actually in June 17th, to be fair. That to AMT Events is approaching a 2-year anniversary, which is just mad saying that out loud. But we've got a few announcements coming up that we've planned on marketing for kind of leading up into that, and we're also inviting our clients as well as our key connections and community to a 2-year anniversary partnership event, which is going to be really exciting, held in July. So just to really keep their eye out for that.
Exciting
community as well.
Wow, exciting. Well, Anne-Marie, thank you so much again for today, and just for offering that insight. It's really, really helpful, and hopefully that helps others as well who might have been thinking of joining the group and community for a while, and those that are already in the community who perhaps are still thinking about their next career move. I'd love to hear from anybody who is still looking, might be interested, or needs some support or help. So
definitely. And I hope that helps. Ultimately, I think at the moment that there's definitely still freelancers and permanent event people looking for work, and I can just only encourage them to make themselves known, introduce themselves on the platform, on the wall, on the group, and also get in contact with the group managers as well, letting them know what their availability is, what their skill set is. We have our email listed, and of course working with brilliant recruiters like yourself, hopefully we can become a bit of a bridge to helping introductions form that
fantastic
link.
Thank you. And from our conversation, we need to get we need to make the application process slicker, and we need to make sure that those job titles are relevant and actually attracting the right audience. So thank you very much for that.
And the personal factor.
And the what, sorry?
The personal factor.
The personal touch. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Oh.